So, ladies and gentlemen, when I am Courtney Michelle needed her homegirl to try to run around the world, she called this woman. And when TLA was getting ready to get into it with Tasha K, he called this woman. And when it was time for all the twins to get together, Brown Eyes had to call this woman. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know that I had to call this woman. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Laura and Melissa.
Hi, what an introduction. Oh my gosh.
So how are you? How are you? How are you?
Man, I am doing well. I'm really glad to be here. Finally made it onto Uncle Stu's channel and about to have this conversation. I'm
We're
excited
gonna have
to be
this
here.
conversation. I tell you, because everybody don't know. It's like by the time I was trying to reach out to you, you was in one state. Then you ran and got into another state.
Yeah.
Then I was like, well, you got to give it time to unpack, y'all. But, you know, it was like, she still got boxes. Yeah. She had to go from one place, another time zone. But see, you get to hang out with Vaughn now because Vaughn, you know, he that wealthy brother that just be sitting back on the beach, you know, can't tell him nothing. Yeah. When he talks to me, he be like, Uncle Stu, I got to get my tea. You know, we got the California tea. Y'all don't know nothing about California tea. You know, so I can't say nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say nothing. So how is your day going?
Listen, I'm just glad the work day is over. Work, y'all, I wish YouTube was my full-time job. Continue to support, subscribe, and do all that so I can make it my full-time job. But I do have a day job and, you know, work was good today. I'm glad that it's over. Looking forward to the weekend. I feel like I say that every week. But yeah, if y'all wondering what I do by day, I'm a program manager. So I just, you know, make sure projects go off without a hitch. So yeah.
You know, it's funny. I'm gonna tell you what's real funny. Uncle Stu seems to be surrounded. Now I'm gonna use this word because I am one. I'm surrounded by all you geeks, and I'm the nerd. I got engineers around me from before the billions. You know, then your girl is in the tech industry, which is, you know, TSU in the house. You know, so you got to give TSU her credit. Then I got Intentional Millionaire. He's an engineer. Then I hang out with Wealth Engineer. He's in it. It's like, boy, I don't know why they hang out with this old man. I couldn't put two wires together. You know, surely don't show me this long math formula. I'm gonna be lost.
Listen, kudos to people who do that, engineering and all that stuff. Yes, I used to be in the numbers game, but now more administrative. So shout out to everybody who can commit and do all that tech and mathy stuff. Yeah,
So,
do that.
how did you get into the tech field?
Well, so I'm really not in tech. It's more education, but in terms of making sure projects go off without a hitch, we work with school districts across the US. But my career started in higher ed. So I didn't necessarily go into the nonprofit world off rip. I started working at a university and did that for about 10 years and then moved on from that to work in a nonprofit sector to kind of like move away from like student interaction and working more on shifting adult behavior to then impact students. So a lot of jargon, but we do a lot of work with like adults and how to change their mindsets and shifting beliefs that they were, you know, kind of brought up to believe to help improve the education for our children. So
in education as well. You know, and then I deal with, you know, people offline. Everybody think this is my only one, but it's that shifting minds. And one of the things that I struggle with or try to get my head wrapped around is shifting minds online versus shifting minds offline. And I don't want to necessarily say they're two polar opposite worlds, because some of the topics that, let's say, I deal with online,
Mm-hmm.
also talk to my 20 somethings that's offline. So I know there is a parallel in that dual world. Like, oh, okay, yeah, they really dealing with this,
Yeah.
offline as well as online. But it's that shifting mind. From your experience so far, and from your background,
Mhm.
what would you say is affecting the lack of the shifting of the mind, or what do you think is impeding the shifting of the mind?
Well, people don't like change, right? So anytime you kind of present them with a different perspective, a different view, it's it's instantly met with resistance. And that's with anything, with any topic, anything that if it doesn't align with what you knew and what you've been raised to believe,
Mhm.
you are automatically in defensive mode of trying to protect what you know versus abandoning that thought process of saying, okay, yes, this is what I know, but perhaps this is something I can either learn or that can either shift my thinking. So we don't ask the question why enough. Like,
Mm,
why do we believe this or why is it this way? We don't interrogate things. We kind of just take it as it's presented to us in
mhm,
whatever way it's delivered to us, right? So
mhm.
you talk about the online world versus the real world. And in the real world, yeah, you can have all the conversations you want, but the reality is the online space has always been to present yourself, present your representative, present beliefs or thoughts that are going to get more clicks and views. I mean, we can date this all the way back to MySpace days or, in the early Facebook days. You
Mhm.
only put online what you wanted people to see. And no one's
Mm.
going to post things that won't get recognized. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So we never really moved away from that, though we're starting to see a shift where people are starting to long for authenticity. They're starting to long for more authentic conversations where you see people as real people versus you seeing people as product pushers, if you will, right? Where
Mm.
they put on this face. So I think it's starting to shift, but that it's not all the way there yet. You can have more real conversations in the real world, but when you come online, there's all of this red tape that's not necessarily red. It's invisible, but
Right.
invisible red tape that
Right.
you have
Right.
to be cautious of, in addition to making sure you don't reveal enough because people are crazy. Like people,
Mhm.
it's
Right.
crazy people. So there's just a lot of consideration that has to happen on on online, the virtual space versus in the real space.
It's I'm glad that you said what you said, because in all honesty, that's exactly what this platform is all about.
Mhm.
It's about having the authentic conversation. It's not about the talking points.
Mhm.
It's about who is the real person. What has the real person went through? Because I feel too many times people have a concept of people, but they don't have a reality of that person.
Yeah. Yep.
People fantasize of the concept of Lauren, but they don't have a clue who the heck you are.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, she smiled, and in the back you might be having a bat ready to kill somebody.
No, for real. It's
But we have these concepts, but no reality.
mhm.
Um, what is it that you would say? If I had to do one of them trivia questions, what is something that is about Lauren that people really don't know, that Lauren really either never shared or never had the platform to really breathe and say, this is the real me. These are my real fears. These are my real issues that I can't necessarily share on other platforms because it wasn't really created for me to be me.
Well, see, that's the thing. I never really waited for a platform to be available to me. And I think that's what people like about my channel or like about me is the fact that I am authentic and I am real. And what I put out there is really what you see. Like, I mean, it's been said to me a few times, like, when we get Lauren, we don't know what she gonna say, like, because I always kind of keep it real. Like, it's people where, you know, when they come on your platform, you kind of know their angle, you know what they're gonna do or say. But for me, it's like, well, she said something one week and then she said something another week, so I wonder what she's gonna say this week, kind of thing. Like, so people don't know, which is how I like it. But to your point about, like, how did I, like, find that space to kind of be me? I really started on Instagram, honestly. So Instagram was really my space, and it kind of still is. I rock with Instagram more than I do YouTube, if I'm honest. But I started on Instagram just going live randomly, and then when I started going live, I was like, okay, let me do lunch with Lauren. And this was like around the time of during the pandemic, where, you know, we were not having the water cooler talks at work. We weren't with our coworkers, and I longed for that interaction. I'm an extrovert / introvert in a way. So I wanted to, like, have that conversation. And then I birthed Lunch with Lauren on Instagram. And it started off really small, like just 5 people came, 10 people. Then all of a sudden it grew. And people were, like, asking, what's this week? Is it coming on this week? Like, people were looking forward to just hearing my thoughts on certain things. And I mean, it was anywhere for me, like reviewing TV shows, talking about what's going on, my thoughts, opinions. And I didn't have a care in the world who saw it, who shared it, what people said, whatever. Then Anton came on one day and on my lunch with Lauren. And that's kind of how everything kind of started. He was really intrigued at, like, you know, the conversations and who I had on my my Instagram, and that's when he invited me to his channel. I've always had a YouTube channel per se, but it was just vlogs, so I didn't necessarily put everything out on YouTube. One, because I think YouTube is completely different. I think a few other people said it on a different show on my channel, like, YouTube is a whole nother world. And so when you think about it, I think I'm not even 6-8 months in, maybe I'm not even a year into being on YouTube, and I kind of grew really quickly, and just in terms of getting the subscribers, the watch hours, and that is really scary. You know. So yeah, to answer your question, I created my own space on my Instagram page, and then took the leap / risk to bring it to YouTube. And I mean, it's been a great risk. I'm glad I took it.